Welcome to Horizon Forbidden West review. This will also be a review for the DLC Burning Shores, and it will include spoilers, so be warned. I did not play Horizon Zero Dawn, but I have watched some recaps on YouTube, so I know a little bit of the story and a little bit of the characters. It's okay if you didn't play Horizon Zero Dawn, but if you didn't play it, you should probably watch some recaps to know a bit of the story. So, to start off, this game looks fantastic. It's one of the best looking games I've seen in some time. Even Dragon's Dogma 2 really can't compare in some ways. This game even runs extremely good, and you'll get a really good FPS, and it also runs on the Steam Deck. Not always it jumps, but it's somewhere around 30 FPS on the Steam Deck. And DLSS looks good in this game. Not all games have DLSS that looks good, but this game does. And it includes FrameGen at launch, which is nice to have. And I always want games to have the option to enable DLSS, FSR, XeSS at launch, and FrameGen on FSR and DLSS helps a lot. And there are many settings in this game for almost everything, and especially at the accessibility. There are some settings where you have auto loot that will enable Aloy to just pick up items that she walks over, unless her inventory is full of that item. And there's also another accessibility setting. It's more on the difficulty, which is that you will get all the loot from a machine, so you don't have to shoot off parts and grind. And I highly recommend turning this on, because it just makes the game less grindy to play and makes it more fun. So the gameplay in Horizon Forbidden West is it's mixed to start off. Melee is not that good. It's like just something they added to have it. There is a skill tree for melee, but it's mostly just combos and just 10% extra damage, 50% extra damage, but later game you literally just can't use melee because it will kill you if you use it, because all the enemies are so high level compared to, well, they're just too powerful to even get damaged by melee. So your only option in this game is basically ranged, at least for me. And the weapons in this game are good. I liked that there are many versions. You have Tripcast, you have Hunter Bow, Sharpshooter Bow, and many others. And you can choose between a few weapons. And they also have different ammo types. You can have a normal arrow, for example, or an enhanced normal arrow, which uses more resources to craft, but it is a lot more powerful. You can also have fire. Ammo can also have fire on it, or water, ice, or any other thing, which makes the gameplay at least a little more interesting. And the machines have weaknesses, so one machine can be weak to water but strong to electricity, and then you'll have to remember to not use electricity against it, because it will barely do anything, but if you use water, you can do a lot of damage. And there are some really cool things I loved about this game, and one is something they call chain reaction. Well, it's not what you call it, it's what it is. So some machines have some parts where it can cause a chain reaction. And some part of the robot, there will probably be ice capsule or some storage for ice or acid or fire, and then when you destroy it or use a particular type of ammo, maybe you'll use fire, ice or water, and then it will create a chain reaction which will blow everything around it and make that a special, let's say it's a ice storage, then will make an ice explosion, so the machine will get ice damage and everything around it will also get ice damage. That includes you, be warned. And you could also shoot off weapons from machines. Let's say there's a creature that has a machine gun. You can shoot it off, and it will now it will not be able to use that machine gun. And the best part is sometimes you can even pick that machine gun up from the ground and use it against other machines or the machine itself, and that is really cool. There's even on the skill tree, there's even possible you can even upgrade that ability so it will do even more damage and it will move even faster, which is really cool. And the skill tree in itself is it's mid. It's not good, it's not bad, but it's mid. It has some good parts and some bad parts, and it sometimes doesn't even make a little bit sense. The melee skill tree is I didn't really like it at all. It was, for me, I felt it was really bad, but the hunter skill tree and the stealth skill tree and the survivor and the override skill tree, all of them are interesting. And when you get to the bottom of the skill tree, you'll unlock special perks, which changes the combat or adventuring in some way. One of the on the bottom is that you can, spoilers, warning, big spoilers, is that you can jump on top of flying mounts, and I mean you can use a grappling hook to jump on it, which is cool. End of spoilers. I will include that. And the mounts. There are many mounts in this game. I will not talk about everyone, but the first one is unlocked because of the previous game, Rise of Zero Dawn, and at the start you will use it all the time, but later in the game you will not use that, or whenever you unlock another mount you will not use it because you will just get better mounts. And you can also unlock overrides in this game. And one thing I don't know how, but I didn't even notice that you could upgrade your pouches until late in the game. I literally didn't find it out before the final boss in the DLC. So I had completed the whole game, and then I get to the final boss, and then I found out you can do it. And that was one of my worst thing I hated about the game. And it's good that it is there. I really wish they didn't do it the way they did, because the way it works is that you have to go around and just kill animals and loot them and farm them, and I really wish they just used machine parts, because it makes more sense, I feel. Because you have an arrow, why not let you upgrade your pouch for ammos with maybe some machine parts to make arrows stronger or stuff like that? That will be really helpful. But I understand that it will be too easy that way, so I understand that way. And the later game, you will unlock some cool new gameplay aspects, and it will change how you unlock, how you play the game overall. And I will include a big spoiler now, because it's one of the worst design flaws in this game. So spoilers, but if you don't care, just keep watching. So you will unlock a flying mount, as I said, and the worst part is you unlock it very late in the game, and then I mean late. You're almost finished with the game, then you unlock it, and it shouldn't be like that. Really shouldn't. You should have unlocked it much more earlier, so you could explore the game more. Because at the start you just run and use the mount, and the map is so huge that it takes forever to go from place to place. But when you get the flying mount, you can just easily go to place to place, and it's much more fun. And a little bit spoilers for DLC now, you will even get a flying mount that can go underwater, which is so sick. It looks amazing, and it's just fantastic. I love that so much. So the AI/NPC/enemies in this game is great. It's not the best, it's not the worst. The one thing that is a bit of a problem is teleporting. So when AIs are a bit far away from you, or NPCs, or maybe you mount and you turn your back to them so you can see them, they will just teleport to you, which is a bit immersion breaking, but it's not like it's a huge issue. It's mostly just immersion breaking, but I personally used it to get my mount or the NPCs following quests to just come to me instantly, which was really nice. The enemy has some nice AI. It's not the best, but it's not really bad. They have good awareness, and yeah, it's not that unique. They don't interact that much with the world, sadly. It's just the world are placed around the AIs, not the AI way. Well, the AI don't do anything. That's what I'm trying to say with the environment. They're just there, sadly. But there are many types of enemies that you will counter. You have flying, you have big monster, robots, small, and every size. Sometimes you will find big and fast, and small and slow, and so on. And you will just find some cool things around the world. There are many types, as I said, but there are also variations. So you can have one that is a plasma version, or fire version, acid version, ice version, water, and so on. There are many versions of one. You can even have elite, and you have special versions for cauldrons, and they are a bit unique and add to the challenge of the game. The chain reaction will also change depending on what type of the robot is, and the weaknesses will also change. So you can't always just remember, you have to scan and find out which version it is, or you're just gonna have to see on the attacks or try to find out yourself by looking at them. So yeah, it's that. The NPCs are not that great, they're just there. They do not do that much, they are just... let's say you're in a quest with another NPC. They will help you in combat if they have combat capabilities, but if they're like just following you, they won't do anything. They can quote unquote die, but it's just that they get knocked down. You can rest them if you want to. You don't have to. They just instantly, well, not instantly, but after a while they will revive themselves, and if you just turn around, they're with you. So that's nice. So you don't have to worry about them. The NPCs do have unique weapons. In the DLC, one NPC that will be around a lot will use a tripcaster to the rope caster. Yeah, so they get knock down enemies, so you can take them down, which is nice. Others will use bows, maybe melee or anything else, which is really nice to see. So as I said before about the mount, the world is big, really big, but it feels so empty and unnecessarily big. There are just huge empty fields, or empty, well, there are no fields, they're just empty deserts. Most of the game is just deserts or very desertly places, sand valleys, and there's so much sand in this game. Jesus Christ. The first part of the game, you'll be locked in a valley, sand valley almost, with a bit of grass and snow, but mostly sand. Then you'll get out, and the first territory is sand. The next territory is sand. Then you'll finally get away from the sand. You'll get into a forest, which has sand in it somehow. And then finally you will have some mountains which has sand. And then you will even get to go to a desert. And then finally you will finally get away from the desert and will find a forest, and that's it. There's not that many different things. There's mountains with a bit of sand, mostly snow, but it feels like sand somehow. Desert, and as I said, forest. That's it. Mountain, sand, forest. There is an island, which is, spoilers, Chicago. But the good part is there is sand, but it's a city. It's a destroyed city, but it makes it much more better because it's an actual place. And the DLC fixes a big part of this. I'll talk more about that later. There are a few cities in this game that you can find or just go past. One thing I found that was really cool, there is one big city that you will go to. Well, you don't have to, it's optional. And it's not like it's an unimportant place, because it is a really important place in the story aspects, but you never go there in the story, which is a bit weird. But you will have some quests that I will talk about later, which are really cool. There are many cities in this game, but most of them are just small outposts, and then you have some really big cities or towns, or whatever you want to call it, where you can upgrade your gear, buy new gear, purchase new armor, and even resupply from your stash, which is just everything you collected that you can have in your inventory that you put in your stash. And there are something called cauldrons. This is where you get overrides. I did not know you could find this lying around. I thought it was some story aspect until late game. These are some cool puzzle / combat places where you will have to find a way in, and then as a reward you will get really good stuff from machines, because there's a special machine you have to fight which has been upgraded and has some special loot. And you will also get some overrides, and you have to craft overrides somehow. I really feel that you just unlock it, but apparently not that. You craft most of them at least. You will get a ton. A few you have to craft, which are the ones you use the most. And then you will just have a ton of the ones you will probably never even use, because they're just... Why would you even override a deer when you could override a dinosaur? It doesn't make any sense. But at least the world feels a bit empty. There are many stuff placed around, but it doesn't make the world that lived in. It just feels really apocalyptic, empty. It's not like it feels empty because there's been an apocalypse, but it's the worst that there is an apocalypse because it's empty, which is bad. So now we're going to talk about the story and side quests in the game. I really enjoyed the story. It hooked me in really fast and I just went for it. But the game has recommended levels where enemies on that part of the in that level will be that high or a bit lower, but that's what is recommended. So because of that, I did and recommend doing some side quests. and there are many unique side quests. Some can be as small as just, hey, can you please help me find some of this? But other time it'll be, yeah, the boss, the person in charge of the city he's a criminal, we need to stop him. And you'll change how the town works, and in one quest I had all of the town. I couldn't purchase any gear in the town or anything. So I went and did a quest, and then I was allowed to use every type of purchase new gear and use the workbench and do everything in the town. I did another quest. I changed who was in charge in the town, and this happened twice, which is weird. One quest is it's a line quest where there are multiple quests that you're gonna have to do in the game, but one is for early game, one is for mid game, and one is for the late game, because the first has a really low recommended level, then the second is like mid, and the last one is really high, almost end game high. And you will just find many quests around. Some, as I said, some are fun to do, but others are just boring. Kill this, find this. But most of the quests are that. Some quests do it a little bit better. I had one quest where I had to fight a giant mechanic bird and a giant T-Rex, and at the same time, which was really fun. I didn't get that much of a reward, but it was just cool, and I got some nice stuff from the robots. So the story is very long, including DLC. I think it's around 40 hours, maybe 35 or something like that. But I at least ended up with over 40 hours in the game, and that includes being AFK, so maybe around 35 hours to give or take to complete the story and some side quests. The story is very good. You will have some huge things that will happen and you will not expect it, and other times it will be really expected and you're just waiting for it to happen, because when it's gonna happen, I know it's gonna happen, I can sense it, and then you will just see it happen finally. And I believe there's a bit of choice in the story. I can't say, but it feels a bit like choices matters in this game, because there are sometimes you have to choose between some options, and I haven't tested them all, but I feel like they do make a tiny change. So now we're going to talk about the DLC Burning Shores. So the Burning Shores DLC is really good, and if you enjoy the main game, you're gonna really enjoy the DLC. The DLC didn't feel like a burden or something that I felt like I had to do. It was just, I played it and I just felt that I wanted to play even more. So just straight away went into the DLC and I loved it. And if you're playing on PlayStation and you don't have the DLC included, I will recommend just buying the DLC, because the DLC is really good and adds some new things that I really enjoyed. So one of the new things the DLC adds is gear. You will get all of the gear that you will find is going to be legendary, and all of them are really good, and they are designed in different ways. The one I used was a legendary Nora gear that you only could get in the story location, DLC location, which is designed around stealth slash override slash bow, and the way you have to get the resources for these new items is getting a special resource that you can only find in the DLC location. And one thing that's just as I said, the DLC location. The DLC takes place in Los Angeles, and many of the known places are there. If you played GTA 5, you will most certainly recognize many places, which is really cool. And the world in the DLC is much more better than the normal map. There's a really big variety. There's a huge city, of course, but there's also a bit. There's like beaches. There are islands. You can go into many of the buildings because they are so-called ruins, which you can explore and find new stuff. There's also a boss like in a tower, which is really cool. And there are some places that you have to unlock playing the story in the DLC. To start, you will have a small place, and then you will unlock most of the map, and then later in the story you will unlock the whole map, and then you can go around and explore. And as I said earlier, you will get a new mount, which is a flying mount, which can also dive underwater. And it changes a lot because you can just dive into water and it looks so cool. And there are not that many new enemies, sadly. There are a few machines that are cool. There's one frog I can remember, and it's not that it's not that special. They're just, I think it's 5, 6 or 7 new machines, and that includes bosses. And the best part of this DLC is the story. I really loved it, and there's a special choice you can do at the end, which I think will lead up lead up to the next game. I won't spoil it, but at first I didn't expect it, but when I got close to that point, I was like, I feel like this is going to happen, and then it happened straight away, and it was like, yeah, I was right all along. And you'll also unlock a new weapon in this game. It's not that good. Seriously, it's like it's just not that good. It's just a really bad ER kinda. You shoot fast and it takes ages to reload, recharge more like, and then you can fire again, and the ammo is really expensive on top of that. And it's not even that special, to be honest. It's just a normal gun that you probably don't not use, but it's nice to have. It's better than some weapons in the game. And there isn't that much more to the DLC. It adds more of the same old from the main game, but makes it better. So if you love the main game, you're probably gonna love the DLC as well. So the Horizon Forbidden West is a really superb game, you could say, as one YouTuber said. The game is, I love it, I really do. It hooked me instantly and I played through it. I've been playing it for the past 2 weeks, almost every day. And I love it. I highly recommend that you purchase it. If it's on sale, just buy it. Just buy it instantly. It's so good. Yes, it's around $60 on PC. On the PlayStation 5 it's a bit more expensive, around 70, and that doesn't include the DLC. But if you can get the game with the DLC at a good cost, like on Steam, I do recommend it. And the Steam, it runs okay on Steam Deck. So if you tweak the game, you can get it running really good on the Steam Deck, but there are some problems with that. But yeah, it's mostly just optimization that the developers can probably fix. I hope so. But one thing I want to include, that this game does not, the lowest settings is not the PS4. It's a lower version of the PS5 but higher than the PS4. So you can't get really good gameplay, and I really hope the changes. I will probably talk about this in a performance review, but it's a good game. DLC is also really good story, a good location, a good environment, and overall this game is really good, and I hope you're gonna buy it, and I hope you also like this video. Please subscribe. Have a nice day.